The next logical option to talk about is collaborative law, and that's something that all three of us do. As I mentioned earlier, it is a formal alternative dispute resolution. We actually have a statute in Texas. I don't know if there aren't very many other jurisdictions that do have a statute, so that's nice that we have that, and it gives us a framework for what it means to have an official collaborative case. So the first thing is you have to reach an agreement that you're going to handle your case that way. And basically, it's somewhat similar to mediation in terms of the clients having ownership over their process and over the agreement. But we chop it up. We're not in a full day or a half day mediation session. Instead, you are going to go to a series of 2-hour meetings. There will be agendas for each meeting. There will be minutes taken by the lawyers at each meeting. Both parties do have to be represented by a lawyer.
By a lawyer who's been trained in collaborative law.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, the statute doesn't require that, but I think all three of us would very much encourage you to consider if you're going to opt for collaborative law that you get someone who's trained and who actually practices a lot in that area. There are unfortunately people out there that use it as a marketing device to try to get people in the door, and then as soon as they come in, they'll try to talk them out of it. So it'd be like saying I need to go get heart surgery and visiting a podiatrist or something. You don't probably not a good idea. So the first part of setting up a collaborative case would be to talk with your spouse about it, or have your lawyer send a letter over to their lawyer or to the spouse if they are representing themselves at that time, and invite them to do that.
I think another important piece of it is you can't force your spouse to do collaborative.
Right.
It's which is different than probably all the other situations, because mediation, you can actually get a court order saying you must go to mediation. Now, you still can't force somebody to be there in good faith and negotiate in good faith, but you can't force your spouse to sign a collaborative participation agreement, and no judge would force somebody to do that. And I believe that not everybody can handle their divorce collaboratively. I think it takes a certain level of emotional intelligence to handle your divorce in a collaborative manner. Transparency is one of the most important tenets of it. Is you're committing to be open about information and exchanging information and answering questions honestly, and we do it in a group meeting, in a joint session. So it's unique in that, and it's also unique in that we hire a financial professional who is part of our team, and a mental health professional who's part of our team, and so there's 6 of us at each of those joint sessions, and we're all following the agenda, we're all following the process and the steps. It's run like a business meeting.
Right, and it's not adversarial. I think that's important to point out too. If you're someone that's thinking, I want my lawyer to fight for me, that collaborative law is not about fighting. Your lawyer is, in a sense, fighting for you or advocating for you by meeting with you ahead of time, preparing you, educating you, and talking through what a situation might look like if it were in court. Nobody can predict exactly what a judge would do, but we've all been in hundreds of cases. We've been to court. We've been through been through lots of collaborative cases, so we know what the realm of possibilities are. And so I think a lot of times what we try to do, or what I try to do with my clients, is just sort of gut checking for, okay, this is, if you weren't in a collaborative process, this is the sea of options of what a judge might do.
Right. And the defining feature of collaborative law is that you agree you will not go to court. And so you sign a written agreement in the very beginning of your case that you are agreeing to continue to meet and resolve the issues in your case, and you will not set any court hearings, and you exclude litigation as an option in your case. And that's the defining feature of collaborative law, is that it's a commitment to find solutions to your divorce issues.
Right. So if a party decides they do want to go to court, both of the lawyers actually have to withdraw by the statute, and you would have to get a new lawyer at that time. A lot of the people that are sour on collaborative law, the professionals, will try to tell you that that's the reason not to do it. I don't really have a lot of heartburn over that, and I don't think Melissa and Amanda do either. They can tell you, but I think since starting to handle collaborative cases back in 2002, which is when it sort of came to Texas, I've only had 5 cases that opted out. I haven't had one opt out since 2008. My first 2 that opted out were cases where we didn't use a full team, meaning a financial professional and a mental health professional. Since we in Texas have started doing that, I think even fewer of the collaborative cases tend to opt into litigation. But I don't see that at all, as a reason for not doing collaborative, because there are many divorce lawyers in town, and I'm not the only one. I can certainly refer you, to someone else if your case were to be in that less than 3% that opted out.
Right. And the process works. I think what we have figured out after doing this for more than 10 years in Texas is that the collaborative process is very effective. And it does work if you have 2 people who really want to come up with solutions for their family. And very few, I've had fewer than 5 opt out, and I've been doing it also since 2001, 2002. So it really does work.
And I think I've had 2 cases that got out of the collaborative realm and went to litigation, and one was domestic violence. For the most part, I think people that use the collaborative process are happier with their outcome,
Right.
because they've come up with usually really creative solutions. The whole team participates in trying to come up with creative options for settling property, kids, all of it. And I think people are just generally happier. And they're also happier because they haven't beat each other up in court. The process focuses on going forward, the future.
Solutions.
Right.
Instead of problems.
Right.
Right.
And as a parent and a divorce lawyer, I think all 3 of us can say this. I don't think I've ever seen a parenting relationship that was made better at the courthouse.
No.
So,
But often they are made to function better and smoother in the collaborative process, because you learn to communicate with each other differently and in a more positive way.
Right.
And another feature that clients really love about collaborative law is that it's private. So all of the negotiations and the information gathering is done privately between the attorneys. Nothing is filed with the court, generally speaking. And there aren't court reporters and bailiffs. And, when you have a hearing at the courthouse, anyone can come in and attend. It's public. So in the collaborative process, we're in someone's conference room, your conference room, our conference room. And it's a much more private and civilized process that people go through. And they're happier with that.
And don't think that you have to be skipping down the hall and holding hands with your spouse to do collaborative. We're not in there singing Kumbaya. I mean, we talk about very difficult subjects. We deal with problems that come up. If there's a problem with alcohol, we talk about it. It's not that collaborative means everybody's just happy and nice and there's no complex or difficult things to deal with. It's the manner in which we deal with them that allows people to really, it's almost healing. They, instead of having the divorce be such a devastating process and so emotionally difficult, it can be more of a healing process handling it collaboratively, I think.
It's more of a constructive process than a destructive process. And it helps rebuild your family from one family into 2 new families rather than destroying the entire family unit, which is what litigation generally does.
if you want more information on collaborative law, a good place to start is austincollaborativelaw.com. There are links to other websites and information sources on that website where you can go and educate yourself more about the collaborative process.